Hello everyone, welcome back to Farlow Realty. My partner Lynn and myself, Carlos, would like to welcome you back to our building a house virtually in El Salvador. This is video blog number 12, and we're hoping to actually get going here with uploading a lot more videos on this project as we're falling a little bit behind. Okay, so let's get to the nitty-gritty here. So the house is taking shape, as you can see. It's really starting to look a lot more like an actual house. All of the structural work is pretty much done, meaning the main walls and everything else. It's pretty much on the way up. On this one here, you can see the pretty much the workers doing the preparation for what's going to be the parching of the outside structure. So all of the walls that you can see inside and out will be parched with concrete, obviously. Now, the way they do it, as you can see it here, is manually. And they like to do it this way because it's just tradition for them on one aspect. The other one is that because this is a small business contractor, doesn't really have a lot of resources, meaning machinery, tools that we would use, for example, in North America, to do simple tasks as such. So a simple chisel and hammer is really what they use to prepare, for the most part, what's the columns and the where the concrete columns basically are based, so that the concrete adheres to it better. So there you have it. Now you can also see that in this project there are a lot of other little things that are not quite accounted for initially when it comes to budgeting. Okay, for a project like this. So what do I mean is, for example, you can see all of the scaffolding that's being utilized during this construction. Well, these type of materials or resources have to be rented separately. Okay, the contractor doesn't have them. He doesn't own anything like that, himself. So here it is. This is an extra expense, right, to rent these puppies for 2, 3 months, 4 months, whatever, however long it's going to take, because they are going to need it. However, they are very useful, as you can see. There's no way that they would be able to really do the height of all those walls, either from the inside or the outside. The walls are pretty high, okay, and you're gonna get a better perspective in the very near future, as once they're done, basically with the main structure and the roof it's up. Having said that, the roof, you did see initially in this video that the mechanic, now they call it the mechanic, he's actually a welder by trade, and there it is, one of his main beams. He's installing these metal beams, okay, as part of the roof structure. The entire roof body it's going to be metal. Those beams that you were looking at are basically 6 inches width. Okay, but they're about I'm going to say they're about 3/8 of an inch thick. Okay, so they're fairly heavy, sturdy. Not those things are going to be able to withstand an enormous amount of pressure and or weight. I mean, but we're not really concerned about the weight, because the metal roof itself, the tin, it's just metal, and it's thin enough. It's just basically the same thing we use in North America. However, the structure itself is going to be able to withstand way more weight than just the roof alone. So there you have it, and there's more to come here in this video, as you're going to be able to see where the process is with building the actual roof structure with it, because it's quite something. Okay, now talking about doing things manually, you can see on this one here, as he's already perched the one of the room walls. Okay, now they're doing this by hand, and this is what takes, it's labor intensive, and it takes a long time to do it this way. However, we can't, and again, not having the proper resources, this is the way it's done down there, and they do a good job. They really do. The end product, as you will see shortly, is it's quite impressive. All of the walls, every single nook and crevice, is going to be done this way. Okay, on the inside as well as the outside. Therefore, it's also going to provide another layer of waterproofness. Okay. On top of this purging that you are seeing right now, okay, once they basically level it off, and they take away the roughness, then comes a third layer. Now I can't remember exactly what the name of the product that he's using. It's also a mixture of concrete and something else. Okay, well, that's going to go on top of that to basically seal all the concrete inside and out. Okay, and therefore pretty much making it almost waterproof. Okay, which is something that we're really happy about, because it is El Salvador and or Central America, and it rains a lot during the rainy season, right? A lot meaning it's torrential rain for about half hour to 45 minutes, but it really does come down, and then of course it goes away and sun comes out for the most part. The terracing, as you can see, it's coming along nicely. Now the grass has been planted in about halfway, or about half the space of the terrace so far, and so the contractor himself, you can see the tarps rolled up there. When it's not raining, he basically rolls them up and lets the grass air up a bit. Okay. Now you're probably thinking, well, why wouldn't you want the grass to be in the open while it's raining? It's probably good for it. Yeah. However, the grass at this point, okay, has just been planted, and with the torrential rain that they receive, okay, for those say 40 minutes, it comes down so hard that, and when you take into consideration the slope of this terracing, okay, it would pretty much wash away all of the grass planted, and then of course you have another issue right there. So the solution for this was to basically get some tarps, and when they see that it's about to start raining, they'll cover them up and wait for clear skies till the next time that they're get some air. So there you have it. This is the front part of the house. The columns, actually the main columns, are ready to be built. As you can see here, rebar is already protruding and ready for the clay brick, which is, as you can see it right there, ready. The main thing at this point in time for the contractor is to get the roof up and ready, because that's going to alleviate also a lot of other problem. One big problem, which is the rain. Once the roof is up and secure, but then they can actually carry on with focusing on what's going to be the setting up all of the plumbing. Well, the plumbing is already, the piping is already done. You are going to see here shortly. But when it comes to the electrical and of course the actual floor, okay, well then it's nice to be under something, and away from the rain. Okay, so this one here, you're looking at where the fireplace is going to be. Now, the contractor took it upon himself to come up with his own design for the fireplace, and as you can see here, he's going from one side of the wall to the other, basically creating a triangle for a fireplace. This is not what we had intended for a fireplace. We actually do have our own design that we wanted for this one specific corner. Okay, now this is the main living room. Okay, so when he sent us this video, though we really do appreciate his initiative, we actually had to stop him and send him the actual plan for the fireplace right away, because obviously he was keen enough that he wanted to start this right away, but it's just not quite what we wanted. The clay brick, yes, most definitely we do want a fireplace that's going to show clay brick. It's just not this design, or so, and you'll see it in this video, just a bit ahead, up ahead, where the actual fireplace really starts to take place, form actually. So there you have it. Okay, so now the welder, so the mechanic, they call him the mechanic, but he's an actual welder by trade. His name is Wilson. Wilson has been working for the past 2 weeks hard, concentrating on this roof. Now you see the main beam, okay, which is basically two beams put together, and then of course what I guess we'll call it some sort of like a trusses veering off from it to create the main structure of the roof. This one particular room, you can see here, this is actually one of the bedrooms. Okay, it's about to be done. The parching, the first phase of the parching is done. As you can see, it's still rough. This is still rough. That's not how the final result's going to look like. On this one here, they're still working on it. And before I continue, please let me apologize for the video shakiness and all that stuff. But this is the contractor who sends us daily video so that we can see how the process is going, how far he's in, and so we do appreciate it. However, he's not that savvy at video taking, so apologies, but this is how it is. So there you have it. Most of the walls are now parched. Okay, most of them. At this point in time, I think we're about 60%, maybe 70% or so. Okay, they're getting done. It's coming along. It's looking better and better every week that goes by. Okay. It's hard to appreciate at times the size of the rooms, the height of the walls, but once we get to towards the finish end, you'll definitely see the dimensions of it, because they're fairly big. Now, talking about the terrace, and you're seeing the terrace at this point in time. Okay, the terrace is well, the main structure is pretty much done. Some work is still being obviously worked on, like the grass, and there you have it. The grass is now covered because of the possibility of torrential rain coming up. As you can see, there's a nice view again, and the clouds basically, taking shape down in the valley, and those clouds are going to come up the mountain in no time. Uh, that's one very impressive, aspect of nature in that area. That you can see the clouds, a long ways in the distance. We're talking, 3-4 kilometers, because being so high up, you can definitely see a long ways. And at one point in time, I actually timed it from where you see those clouds to the point where they're pretty much on top of us, and we're starting to get rain. Approximately 20 minutes. Okay. So they come pretty fast. Okay, so this is basically the area where the septic tank is going to go. So they've started working on it. Okay, and so this is the area. It's about 12 meters away from the house. Okay, probably a bit more, but I'm going to calculate it's about 12 meters or so. So that's going to be the main septic tank. Okay, that's going to be followed by a secondary, what I call it, the filtration secondary tank. Okay, and then of course from that point on, it's going to run into the drainage. Okay, we designed this tank in accordance to Canadian specs. So that way, we are avoiding as much contamination of the soil this way. Okay. Now the tank is also going to be it's going to be able to be emptied. Okay. So that's what I meant about having North American specs, Canadian specs anyway. So it's going to facilitate us the cleaning of the tanks at any given time, or whenever we think that it's a time to do so. So there you have the front of the house, and that's one of the main columns that's going to form the porch. Okay, there you go. So if you take a look at the one person that was working inside that bedroom, you can see pretty much you can get a good impression of the size of the room and the height of the walls as well. So here you go. Now he is now starting to work on the actual fireplace that we wanted to. Because after sending him, of course, the plans, right? So that's on this corner alone right here. He's showing us the rainwater piping, all the ducts. Okay, and how he's already laid. He's got the trenches done. He's already placed the piping. So whatever rain it's coming down from the rooftop and everywhere around outside the area of the house, which is the backyard and all the stuff, it's going to be collected and basically taken out towards the main drainage, which is out on the street. Now there's a channel that collects just the actual rainwater. Nothing else is going to be mixed with that. Now, having said that, regarding the rainwater, we're also able to collect some of that rainwater for future purposes, right? Plants, irrigation, and things like that. So there you go. So this is the back part of the house and the property. Okay, it's a little hard to keep track of here and try to narrate what's going on and what is what and things like that, because he's all over the place. But anyway, there you go. So they're working on the roof. Okay. Now, if you take a look at that orange ladder on the left, okay, so that ladder had to be also bought for the contractor, because he just did not have anything big enough, long enough to reach for the heights that this house is actually has. And so that was another expense that we have to undertake, and like many other things, and we'll explain more about that as we go. But there's always expenses, extra expenses that you didn't plan in the budget. Here you go. So this is where the main fireplace in the living room is going to be, and that's the size of the actual fireplace where the person is actually building it. Okay, it's taking shape. Okay, it's taking shape now. At this point in time, you're probably thinking, well, that's a pretty high fireplace. How are you going to do that? Well, no, the ground level, it's going to be basically from the top of that fireplace about 6 inches, maybe 8 inches down. Okay, that's where the floor is going to be. So there's still a lot of fill that they need to do with the floor, compacting, and then of course the ceramic. They're working on the one of the main columns in front of the porch. Okay, and everything is going to will have, and has rebar so far. Okay, this construction is going to be solid. Okay, and well, yeah, that's a good thing about it. So here you have it. Here's a good view of the roof structure. All of this is metal. Okay, so with this amount of metal and the gauge of this metal and the sternness, I think, man, you could probably park a couple of cars there and wouldn't do much damage. Okay, maybe not a couple of cars, but definitely a car. So there you have it. Okay, so I like this because it just gives you that real good sense of security, especially for the roof. To me, there's nothing more important about in the house, when you're building a house, than having a very sound, roof structure. Of course, the walls and the foundation are important. They're definitely important. But just as important, I think, is what you're putting up there to keep you covered, and safe from the elements, right? And this is this is just quite something. It's just in the distance you can see the other house. Now that's a recent build. Okay, that house took approximately 5 months to build, right from scratch, right from the laying the columns, the wall columns, to basically, giving the door keys for the owners. There you have it. Okay, it's a pretty nice view. It's definitely quite something, especially in the during the sunset times. Okay, so here you go. The contractor's showing us where the rainwater, all the drainage is basically coming from. Okay, and everything is obviously right around the outside perimeter of the house, and this goes straight out. Okay, and the road is basically straight that way. So there you go. Okay, now here as well. Okay, there's a lot more to be done. This is not quite at the level where where we wanted it just yet. There's still probably about another 1.5 feet of soil that needs to be put in this area to bring it to the level that we want it. There it is. So that's the front of the house. The outside of the house, they're building the main columns for the main porch at this time, as you can see and appreciate. Because and they're going to be quite something. Just from what we can see so far, I mean, they're going to be quite impressive. And then, of course, here is the poor guy who he was working on this fireplace. This is the fireplace, okay? And the design basically came from uh, came from both of our, minds, yes, and a little bit of Pinterest, looking for a somewhat bit of a design for the fireplace, and then we came out with this. The herringbone, that's all lints, okay, and it's taking shape as you can see, and then she really loves herringbone, and she loves clay brick, the artisanal clay brick. By the way, this is, in El Salvador, this is artisanal clay brick. So it's taking shape. There you go. It's going to be quite something once it's done. However, it's also taking time because the constructors in El Salvador are not used to building fireplaces to begin with, because they just figure they don't need it. Those who do or have built fireplaces in the past, they're quite different in El Salvador, and I tend to compare them to the European style fireplaces, where they're kind of small and they're fluted, so it's almost like a half bottle or something like that design. Okay, not a lot of space. I guess we're just used to seeing what we see here in North America, and especially in Canada, where you can see some pretty big fireplaces at times. So that's what we wanted. So the roof metal is in, okay, and that's basically another friend of ours now, Don Meme. Don Meme is the guy who, in the area, in the neighborhood actually, who has a couple of pickup trucks, and basically he rents, not rents, but he does trips. You just hire him to go and get whatever you need, and he'll go get them for you. Now there is a price, of course, but the cost of having Don Meme, going to get us whatever, the tin roof, clay brick, cement, sometimes sand, it doesn't matter, okay, is minimal compared to what other people will charge you, to get you those materials, same quantity. It is just that he's a local, right? Yeah, he lives right there, and for him, just the fact that we're actually employing him, it's income, and it really does help him a lot. So there you have it. Okay, the herringbone is taking shape. It really is. At this point in time, the contractor had to take off there was a couple of little small side walls that were built initially, and if you go back in the video, you can see it. He had to take them down because there was something that he couldn't quite understand in building the little side wall enclosure for this fireplace. But eventually he'll get it. He will get it, and it'll all come together. But it's going to be quite something when it's done, and that's coming very soon as well. Okay, just wanted you to take a good look and get an idea of what's going on now in Bella Vista. So this is what we called this property as of now, Bella Vista. Why? Because in Spanish that means a beautiful view, and it is definitely a beautiful view, beautiful scenery from just about anywhere that you see it, that you can stand on in that property. There you have it. That's the view that you get, okay? From the porch, from the rooms, it doesn't matter. Thank you very much for watching this video blog. Promise I will have another one for you next week, for sure. okay? And you'll see a great process coming out. Thank you, and hope to see you again next week.